Man's Outdoor and Hunting Podcast. We aren't experts, but we're out there doing it. Join us on our journey. As always, we have maybe Dave Packard, who's on the run from the law, Sam Alexander, Potato Lord of the Fifth Elements, Mike Gonzalez, Innovator, and I'm Vince H., who's seen a bad moon rising. Tonight, we're talking about working on the turkeys with our friend, the Turkey Squeezer. Jeff, how you doing?
He's like a butt cheese innovator.
I'm doing good. Thanks, Vince.
Good to have you back.
Vince,
Good.
you were definitely deep throating your mic like Dave did last time. So
Oh, was it too
watch
loud?
it. Yeah. Oh yeah.
I need to whisper next time.
I only had one ear on, so as far as I
Hi,
was
brother.
concerned,
How's your
it's
knee? How are you
fine.
doing?
Oh, knee's okay. Doing good. I'm walking.
Good. You're not too needy.
I'm Batman.
In an order that would surprise you.
So it's so I don't know if DC does like the multiverse stuff because I'm not a nerd. I don't read comic books. I'm not that kind of nerd. Um, but now I'm just imagining Batman in an alternate universe where he's a fish cop.
I mean, I do kind of have a
Utility belt.
yeah.
All right.
Fish
Now
cop
you just
belt.
need the
Fish
mask.
cop man.
The only
fishing license.
But he's not. But he's not like sanctioned by the state or whatever. So instead,
Yeah,
he's like
He's a
just
fish
going
cop
rogue.
vigilante.
Oh, I got it. The venison vigilante.
Oh, Dave says he's on the way. Oh, because of comments in the live stream. I'm thinking, how is Dave in the private chat if he's not here? I was like, oh, wrong comment button. Did somebody said venison vigilante, and that's somebody.
Hi, Dave.
Hi, Dave.
Hey,
Welcome
Dave,
to
it'd
the
be
show.
cool if you were
Way to be here.
But you're like fighting
Also-
cops.
We need to shine the bat signal, but it's the plow signal. It's just a
So-
plow truck to bring Dave.
So, Dave, if you're still with the cops, reach for his gun. Do it. Do it.
Smack her ass,
I already told that joke earlier, so now it's not the same impact.
but not off air.
Oh, if it is a female cop or a male cop, I'm not sexist. If you are gonna smack their ass, make sure you get like the microphone down low so we can get an audible sound clip.
Maybe Dave actually did smack a male cop's ass, and
That's how you
That's-
describe the situation.
yeah, that's how he's on his way back now.
It's like those old vines, moments before disaster.
Excellent.
All right.
So, Senor Jefe, we asked you here, and we are very much excited to talk about turkeys with you because turkey's not something that I'd ever really thought I'd wanted to hunt. And to be fair, I always thought that big game hunting was where it was at. Like, you have to go big game hunting. And the last couple of years have really opened my eyes to the world of just so much more fun stuff that not only keeps you out there in the outdoors and keeps you out hunting, but you can do it year round. Like spring turkey's coming up, and that's why you're here.
Mm-hmm. I got started on turkeys real late. I think it was 2012 I killed my first gobbler. But since then I've just been absolutely hooked. Trying to get into it, and a lot of people they're not quite sure how to get into it, but it is a great species that you can get into for not a whole lot of money. And it just takes a little bit of boot leather and trying to figure out the system and the game with trying to get a gobbler down.
So I can honestly say, well, I'm probably missing one, but turkeys might be one of the few big game species in Colorado I've never actually seen out in the wild, only next to the road. I've seen elk out in the wild. I've seen deer. I've seen moose. Never seen a damn turkey anywhere but next to the side of the road.
I've never seen a moose in the wild.
Well, I didn't either until we saw like 5 in one day last year. It's like, oh, all right, well, could check that off the list.
I mean, I guess you could count the moose I saw in the deep pools right next to the road near Breckenridge, but not really.
Did you buy her dinner?
No, I am still alive. I didn't approach a female moose. I don't touch the fluffy cow. I know better.
Oh, that's a murder cow.
Isn't that a murder horse?
It might
When
be a
we
murder
were
horse.
when we were in Yellowstone, when you Google murder cow, it
I've
just
heard you
pops
can
up
ride one of
the bull
those.
crap. Oh, guy on a buffalo.
Oh, guy
Oh,
on
no,
a
a
buffalo
moose.
is awesome.
Guy on a buffalo.
Get out here, kitty cat.
Punch that cougar in the face.
When we were in Yellowstone last year, I think it was the day we were leaving. Some gal got gored by a buffalo. I think she was like walking away from her like cabin she rented, and the buffalo, didn't like that. So anyway, I start blasting.
Woman leaves cabin and the buffalo. Somehow I took offense to that.
Don't take selfies with buffalo. It's pretty simple.
If you're
Believe
gonna
it or
take a
not,
selfie
common
with the
sense,
buffalo-
not that common.
If you're going to, make sure it's a buffalo robe first.
Right.
Yeah.
I still really want one of those. I still need to get me a buffalo hunt one day. Where am I going to wear a buffalo robe? Everywhere. To Walmart in July.
Dude, you could probably get enough skin off of that to get buffalo robes for all of us, and then we could all wear buffalo robes.
Get your own buffalo robe, sir.
I
Look,
think
if we
like
go on a buffalo hunt and we all walk away with buffalo meat, we're all walking away with buffalo robes.
I think it was like 4 years ago. I looked it up to see how much a buffalo hunt was, and it was a place in North or South Dakota, and I think it was like a 3-day hunt, and it was you and a guest, and it was $4,000,
Yeah,
which
then-
seemed pretty reasonable to me because that included all of the meat processed and packaged for you.
Oh, that's not terrible. I mean, I would personally rather spend $4,000 on that than a lot of exotic stuff down in Texas.
It does sound like I would do both. I would do a nilgai hunt in Texas, or I'd do a bison hunt, and like both sound good.
So you
Yeah.
present Mike with a scenario of one or the other. Like, yeah, if I could do one, I'd do both. No big
Yeah.
deal.
Adventure time.
I just
What would you
Bags
do?
over here.
I'll
Jeff,
just
what'd you do?
prostitute myself a little bit more.
I'd probably do a Neil guy.
I bet you'd do a nilgai. Nilgais
Where's
for days.
your American spirit?
What?
Where's your buffalo robe?
Oh,
Honestly, nilgai is an actual like antelope, and bison are fluffy cows. Yes, you.
Okay. I can run over an antelope. I can't run over a bison. Well, I mean, I can, but probably won't
Yeah,
live.
Just
you
once.
probably can't run over a nilgai either.
You know.
Well, actually, you can run over an elk, so yeah, you can.
well,
Never mind.
considering a Neil guy is about the same size as a moose,
I
yeah,
mean,
you don't
yeah.
want to run one over.
Low enough car, high enough speed.
Luckily enough, the moose weight,
And
the nilgai weight stays lower to the ground than the moose. The moose, they got them big old tall legs to like
when
I
the
assume
cops
walk through the snow and stuff.
when the
and
cops
so-
ask why the front of my Corvette has blades on it, shh,
I think it's
Low
not
enough
going to work the way you think.
Mike,
No.
you're looking
I
confused.
think
Low
it's
enough
just
car,
gonna.
No,
and speed.
I'm
No, it's
not
just gonna
confused. I just
hit.
don't think that's gonna work.
It's just you're gonna hit low, and all that weight is gonna suddenly flop
But not
over on
gonna-
you.
high enough speed, you take it out before the moose has a chance to fall over.
It reminds me of this.
Didn't you
I
ever
watched a
watch
guy-
frickin' Roadrunner cartoon, man? I think you're an amateur at this.
No,
I'm not
I
taking
watched
your
a guy do the can opener, jumping into a lake out of a moving boat, doing about 45 miles an hour. You know what I'm talking about? Where you jump up in the air and you pull one knee up and you stick the other
Yeah.
foot down. Yeah, I watched that.
That's a
foot
good way to break
hit
your
the
your
water
leg. Oh.
and watch him just bam and like smack over into the water. We thought he was dead. We were pretty sure he was dead. Turns out
Did
he
you-
wasn't, but
Turned out he's still alive and still
but that's going to
stupid.
happen to that moose whenever Sam hits it. It's just going to
you're-
can opener right over onto his Corvette.
Look, you're just trying to shit on my dreams, and I won't let you. So let's move on.
All right. So, what's your turkey plans? All right. You know what? Let's take a step back. How does one begin getting into turkeys?
So how I would say getting into turkeys is there's a lot of good stuff online to start watching. Um, Informational videos and stuff. Um, you got to find where the turkeys are. Here in Colorado, we have two species of turkeys. We have the Rio Grande turkeys, which are out on the eastern plains, on the river bottoms and such. And then we also have the Merriam's turkey, which is up in the mountains. The Merriam's turkey is well known for being frankly, a much dumber bird than the Rios. I've hunted both of them. I prefer hunting Merriams because they respond to a call a lot better in my experience. I don't have the most experience in hunting turkeys, but from what I've seen, I mean, years ago I went out to Burlington where my friend, he had me out there to go turkey hunting, and I shot a Jake early in the morning. A Jake is an immature tom, so it has a beard, but it has a very short beard.
And but let me ask you this, because I've seen them on the turkeys, and when I've heard bearded in the past, I've assumed it's that big red dangly underneath their chin. But I'm assuming now that it's actually that big tuft of feather that sticks out of their chest for some reason.
That's correct. The thing that dangles down from their beak, that's called a snood.
So the beard is a snood, and the snood is the beard. Got it. Because feathers sticking out my chest, exactly what I would identify as a snood. But anyway, I'm not a biologist. Move on.
Anyway, yeah.
I call that an arrow.
Or Mike finally got a chest hair.
I think Mike, Mike, do you have it the right direction there? The snood is the thing that comes over their beak.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
Yes, I was being facetious and saying they got it backwards.
You didn't sound facetious. That was my only issue. You sounded if I had a bunch of feathers coming in my chest, I'd call it a snood too. Okay. I was like, wait a minute.
Right.
No,
so anyway,
a bunch of feathers coming out of a chest is what I would call a snood. Go ahead, Jeff.
I got you now. Whatever.
So anyway, later on in that day, my friends Keenan and Aaron, they still had tags, and we were sitting in a blind, all three of us, over decoys, and watched two toms and a Jake enter the field we were in, and we would call to them, we'd call to them, and they wouldn't even look at us. And 45 minutes later, after they'd made almost an entire half circle around us, they suddenly looked at our decoys and came running over and wanting to fight. And to me, I couldn't get that. I don't know why they did what they did at that point. And Keenan and Aaron each ended up getting one of the toms each. So they got a double, which is pretty cool. But no calling response whatsoever. What I love to do is I love to call in turkeys. I love it when they're responding. You're interacting with them. It's like calling in an elk, only the pack out is much easier when you're successful.
Fair enough.
So
go ahead, Vince.
So last week, kind of in preparation for this, I hopped on the Onyx Turkey Calling Basics class and listened in on what they had to say. If you're going to call in a turkey, what's the best way to do that? If you had to pick one sound, one vocalization, what would you be using the most?
I would say a yelp.
A yelp.
So we'll talk about calling real quick here.
Please do.
First off, what you want to do is early in the morning when you figured out where there might be a place for turkeys, you're going to want to do what's called a locator call, or a shot gobble, or try to get a shot gobble out of them. Shot gobble is when they gobble at pretty much any noise. So one of my favorite one is a crow call. You blast that crow call, and if you hear a gobble, you go that direction and you get set up and you start calling. There's other types of shot gobbles. You can do a coyote howler, an owl hooter. An owl hooter is pretty common. People have talked about, slamming car doors, which does work. I've done it with turkeys, not ones that I've hunted, but ones that I've seen on the side of the road when they're strutting, and I just slam the car door to get them to gobble. And there's it's just it's a response to them. It's not necessarily that they're interested in that noise. It's just what they do. So you get them to do that, and I like doing that because if you use a hen call or yelp, you're going to get them to gobble, and they're going to start thinking. But if you shot gobble them with something that is just mundane out in the woods, they're going to gobble and not think about it. I do use a hen or yelp call or hen call as I'm later in the day. Well, we can get into that later. I call it trolling for turkeys. But if you have the once you get them located, then you want to try to get as close as you can, and then you get set up, and then you start calling. I am admittedly not the greatest caller in the world. There's a lot of different turkey calls you can use, or a lot of different sounds you can do. I don't typically do most of them. I just yelp, and I yelp softly. My thing I like to do is, once you got a gobbler interested in you, I shut the hell up. If he starts gobbling at you and he's coming towards you, shut up. Let him come look for you. And this is especially important when I hunt without decoys, and I actually frequently, that's my preferred method, is hunting without decoys. People always, I go back and forth with my friend Keenan about decoys, because he doesn't believe you can kill a turkey without decoys. I've killed numerous turkeys without decoys, but they will pinpoint your exact location to within yards. It's uncanny. But anyway, they
because they can see the decoys and then they find you.
No, without decoys. You put no decoys out. Zero decoys.
You said they can pinpoint you.
Yeah, by sound. They know exactly where you are.
Oh, okay. So you don't need the decoys to help them pinpoint you because they do know where you are.
Right.
Now they're going to come looking for a bird to fight.
Right. My wife's first bird, I called that bird into 10 yards without decoys, and it came right up there, and she smoked it. But it's just, I like it because you don't have to mess with the decoys. You don't have to carry the decoys. And I have potentially the most expensive decoys on the market, Dave Smith decoys. And they have been gathering dust in my shed for the last 4 or 5 years because I don't use them anymore. Decoys do have a good purpose. And once they see the decoy and they're fixated on the decoy, you can get away with a lot more movement. But that's another thing about turkeys, is that they are keyed in on movement. How distracted they get by the decoys is, quick story. I was hunting with my wife a couple of years ago, trying to get her a bird, and we had a jake come into the decoys, where it was a place where I will use decoys in a blind where I feel appropriate, but most of the time where I hunt, it's not appropriate. But called in this jake, but he was a beardless jake. He had no beard, so he's not legal to harvest in Colorado because he doesn't. What Colorado says, you need to during the spring season, it has to be a bearded turkey, and it had no beard, so she couldn't shoot it. Well, that jake sat there and beat up my jake decoy for an hour and a half. And I'm not kidding, an hour and a half. And eventually, I got out of the blind and belly crawled over towards the decoy just to see how close I could get. And I got about 3 feet away from that bird, ready to tap it on the foot, until it finally looked down at me and was like, "Whoa, you weren't there before."
The
That's
cats
how
with the
thick-
cucumber.
Yes. Except not even with the cat with the cucumbers just freaks out. He just sort of looked down at me like, "Whoa, that's not right."
Oh, well, I gotta fight you next. Come on,
Hold
man.
up.
You want some? Hold up. Dave's here. And
Yep.
he's not in jail.
No. No.
Jailed it.
Did
We're
you
gonna move
smack their ass, Dave?
You're being awfully silent for.
Oh, I'll
who
tell
has
you
a
after the
story.
show.
Is this your one phone call?
Yeah, and I choose to talk to you fuckers.
Well,
Just make fun of me. It's like, tin cup fucker.
Dave's one phone call is show title also. Anyway, continue, Jeff Hayes.
Did Dave have a question?
No, actually,
Dave always
I've-
has a question, but not this time.
I'm actually I've always been interested in turkey hunting, just not like super interested. Where I actually went out and did it. I have all the calls, and that's that, and I've practiced with them a shitload. But I mean,
So
I've just never actually gone out and hunted turkeys.
Once you do it, you are going to not stop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's very addicting. It's fun, and I was kind of the same way. When I was 16, I really wanted to go turkey hunting, and I bought all the calls and all the equipment, and I went turkey hunting a few times. Never killed a turkey, and I stopped doing it. I bought a package or a box of 3.5-inch turkey loads to go in my 12 gauge way back then, and 2 years ago, I used the last of those shells on a turkey.
Jesus.
wow.
But yeah, I mean, it was kind of funny that I found that shell and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm using that one.
That stuff is expensive.
You know what's funny is way back then, 10 rounds of 3.5-inch turkey loads was I think $16.99. Yeah, you're not getting
Jesus,
it for
back
that now.
then.
No.
Yeah.
I was at
That was
Walmart
expensive
today
back then.
and I looked at the 410 turkey loads.
Oh God.
5 rounds was $31.
It's cheaper to shoot 50 BMG than 410 right now.
I swear I saw some turkey loads in 12 gauge in Shields, 5 rounds for $75.
Probably heavy shot.
I'm gonna go.
It's entirely possible. Like I was shocked at the price. I was like 75 is for 5 rounds. What the? It was outrageous.
Yeah.
I'll just go buy more crossbow bolts.
Yeah.
I do like the broadheads meant for turkeys because it's basically just trying to cut the turkey's head off.
Oh, the gobbler guillotine. I've seen
Yep.
those.
See,
Pops out as many blades as possible. Just try to take the head off.
that is an
That's the new
option,
felon
and
home defense load.
It's an option, and it's an interesting option
Wait.
to me.
Home defense because you're a felon, or defense from felons?
Yes.
¿Por qué no los dos?
I'm pretty sure if you tried to shoot somebody with a gobbler guillotine, those blades would just break right off.
Well, you got to aim for the neck and just a grazing shot so you can hit the carotid or the jugular. Other than
No,
that,
just-
yeah.
Go for a face shot so they have a cool story.
Oh no, I got this scar. Ooh.
Yeah.
You know how I got these scars?
Yeah, some asshole shot me with a turkey broadhead.
I haven't looked. Can you hunt turkeys with a crossbow in Colorado?
Yeah.
Oh, fucking sweet. There you go.
Yeah.
Pretty well, okay. I'm gonna back
Interest
that up.
growing in that.
Pretty sure
Okay.
you can.
Okay.
Interest growing in
Fairly
that. Let me look
certain.
at the turkey brochure that I'm already on.
Safe answer. Wait a minute.
Backtrack.
Rewind. Edit out.
Credibility falling.
Right.
You want to hear a terrible joke?
Always.
So we hunt turkeys. What do turkeys hunt? Armenians.
Jesus.
I don't.
I was going to make a joke.
Methods
I'm
of
signing
take:
off.
shotguns, handheld bows, crossbows, rifles, and handguns. Spring season rifles and handguns not legal. Oh, so that actually brings up a very valid question. Spring season handguns not legal method of take. Still going to bring handgun for self-defense. is there going to be some froggy officer that wants to make a name for himself going to give me shit for it? Or is that more of a you shot this bird with a bullet and not a crossbow bolt? Here's your ticket. Or you're going to jail or whatever.
I mean, I can't speak for all officers on how they would handle the situation. How I would handle the situation is you have a Second Amendment right to carry a gun while you are hunting. You have a Second Amendment right to carry a gun while you are out in the woods. Where you're going to run into it is if you do not have your crossbow or shotgun with you while turkey hunting, but you have a pistol and you have turkey decoys out calling and you have your gun up. That would raise some questions, let's just say.
Then the things get suspicious.
Yeah.
Right. If you have another legal method of take on you while you're trying to hunt the turkeys,
not to mention
most officers are not even going to question you.
A more effective method of take.
Yeah, that kind of goes back to the whole.
But I'm gonna set that aside.
That kind of goes back to the whole thing when Jeff first came on and called me out on my big game archery bullshit that I was led astray long ago about carrying handguns while you're bow hunting.
And I think you just repeated your answer, and I realized I have just asked this same question, but in a different context, and you gave the same answer, but in the same context.
Well, turkey's a little goofy.
It is.
I mean, it's valid, I think.
Again, it's like it would be better to ask the question than
assume
and have a solid argument with someone who does not have common sense. You're hunting turkeys with a handgun. No, I'm using a handgun to exercise my rights and defend myself, and I'm hunting turkeys with a crossbow.
There's bears out here.
Wait,
yeah.
I don't. It's just I don't actually think that. Puppy, hi Dixie. I know she can't hear me at all, but puppy.
Anywho,
yeah,
no,
we're doing a show and there's a dog
big
on
fan
screen. So
big fan of turkeys.
Oh, yeah.
I've won a lot of guns from National Wild Turkey Federation banquets. Good time.
Nice.
It's funny. You've never hunted turkeys, but you have.
I have donated a lot
to
turkey conservation.
I've killed a lot of turkeys, and I've never been to a banquet.
Oh man, it's a good time.
Yeah. Dave's method of hunting is chasing elk across his backyard and going to banquets.
The same day.
Yeah, sure.
This is true.
He's busy.
Mike's version of hunting is taking out a second mortgage for turkey ammo.
Shut up. Shut up. Shut up.
$75 a box. He's like, "Oh man, I got this."
Next week, guys, I got a Sega 12.
This is the same guy that said he wants to shoot pheasants with number 2 steel because he didn't want too many boxes of ammo in his cabinet.
No, I literally asked Dooley what I should bring to South Dakota, and he was like, "Well, what do you got?" And I was like, 8 shot, 7.5 shot, 2 steel, and he was like, 2 steel will work, whatever.
I imagine it works better than 8, but at the same time, he's
it
probably
does not.
like
It
this
turns
fucking
out,
guy. He's gonna
turns
just
out 8 shot works great on pheasants.
pile of feathers in the air. Just,
Yeah.
Yeah. That was the Eurasian I shot with 2 shot. No, I was using 2. Pile of feathers. Anyway. Hi, Dixie. Hi, Dixie.
turkeys.
She's like, what's in there?
I actually
Turkeys.
saw some turkeys today.
No.
Matter of fact.
I saw turkeys today too.
Yeah. They were right on the side of 287, kind of in a creek bottom bridge. They were crossing the road when I saw them. I was like, oh shit, I don't want to hit those. And Tom was all puffed up and he's flared out and everything. I was like, oh man, he has nothing on the mind except some sweet turkey cloaca. And we drove up there. We were up in that town for, I don't know, 6 hours, and we drove back and they were in the exact same spot. I was like, son of a bitch, they're still in the ditch.
We saw some today on the way to town. 7 or 8 toms out displaying in someone's front yard.
I have
That's awesome.
in all the years, Jeff, where when that mom has lived where she has and dad's lived where he has, seen tons of turkeys. I don't recall ever seeing a tom.
Huh.
You probably did.
Probably.
It just wasn't poofy.
Wasn't the right time of year.
Yeah, maybe. Are they just not naturally that poofy? Do they normally look like turkeys?
Yeah, they normally look like turkeys. That's when they're called. That's when they're puffed up. That's what they're strutting right then. That's what's called strutting.
Yeah.
So,
Like when
like
a
a
cat's
peacock.
hair stands up.
pretty much. Except they do it to attract the ladies, and a cat does it because a leaf skittered across the floor.
Yes.
Or
yes,
someone
yes,
put
indeed.
a cucumber 3 inches behind them.
That's true.
I said like a peacock, trying to.
Oh, I didn't hear
Get that dick
but
joke in.
yeah, like a peacock. Same thing. You've seen a peacock? They lay down their tail feathers and they walk
Yeah.
around like a normal peacock with,
But then-
7-foot feathers.
Then they get that peacock or that peahen cloaca on their mind, and they just go.
Yep.
I hear they taste just like chicken.
Picture of a juicy roasted peacock, crispy on
Oh
the
my
outside.
That sounds so good right now.
Cloaca.
Not to
Crispy
bring
roasted
in
cloaca.
another podcast, but it wasn't really a podcast. But from Meat Eater, they did an
don't
episode where Cal went to Hawaii and he shot a peacock.
Oh,
I
nice.
think this looks like somebody.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
don't care about like other mentions and
Okay.
just-
Share screen.
that's pretty cool.
Tell me if I'm wrong. It looks like somebody stuffed a peacock neck and left the head on top.
What the?
That is correct. Are
It's a little
are
charred
peacocks
peacock.
just Elton John chicken?
Sure.
For the listeners at home, it looks
No,
like imagine
actually,
a
you know what?
peacock-
A peacock has some semblance of laid outness. If you really want to look at an Elton John chicken, look up the oscillated turkey.
Oh yeah,
Well, before
that
we
one's
get
all
too far,
sparkly.
for those at home, what I just showed the guys is a picture of imagine taking a peacock and sticking its head in a fire for a little while, getting it nice and charred, and then apparently they took all the bones out of the neck and stuffed it full of sausage, and then just cut it off and left it on a cutting board.
It looked
that-
like kielbasa with a bird head. Bird's head kielbasa.
Yeah, you say oscillating turkey; those things look like they got some kind of fungus going on their head sometimes. So
Yeah.
I'm
Thank
out-
you
I'm
to
not eating
Tenacious
that.
D for ruining the word kielbasa for me for all time.
Peak kielbasa.
Yeah. Kielbasa sausage, their butt cheeks is warm. I got to perform.
So
I
we
mean,
were talking turkeys.
Thank
right?
you again,
There's not a
Tenacious
thing in
D.
the world that can ruin kielbasa for me. So that's a personal problem.
I don't even think I quoted it right, but anyway. So, what do you? If you're using Onyx to scout for turkeys, what are you going to look for as a decent place to start? Like, I could go hike in here a mile or two and maybe find some turkeys.
Frankly, you're going to want to look at the type of terrain. Ponderosa forests are what the Merriam's like. It's hard to scout for turkeys on X, really. I know you had a long conversation with your last guest about, or one of your last guests about scouting for elk via Onyx. But turkeys, in my mind, it's a little bit more difficult. Honestly, with the difficulty about Merriam's, once you find them, they're easy to call, but finding them is the hard part. Because they're few and far between, I guess. They're not as dense as Rios are, or Easterns are, or Osceolas are. They are mountain turkeys. They like to roam around in the mountains. So you got to get into those ponderosa forests, and you got to start walking around, doing your locator calls, and trying to get up a gobble. So it's hard to say.
Gobble. That's a show title.
look. It's hard to say.
When
How you just looking on Onyx, it's hard to say where a turkey's going to be at.
when you I lost my question. So on Onyx, they have this. They have a layer thing where you can, and it looks like it's new, where you can turn on. These are the elk areas. This is where they winter. This is where they summer. This is where the mule deer live. This is where they winter. Blah blah blah. They also have turkeys, and they show you green for Merriam's, and it looks like orange or yellow. I can't remember for the Rios. And then there's a bunch of the state that just doesn't have any color on it.
The other way around.
Oh, my bad. Would do you know anything about that? Would that be a decent place to start?
It would be a decent place to start. I mean, if they're showing the areas where turkeys are to be found, great place to start. And then with Merriam's, just start walking.
Mike's like, fuck it. I don't want to go. All the other people are gonna be the orange spots. I'm gonna go to the gray area.
That's
So-
not a bad plan, actually.
So if you haven't done a whole lot of scouting, if you wanted to go in an area and hunt, walking in, say a quarter mile and putting out a call or doing a crow call, is that a decent strategy to try and locate something and get a hunt going? Or because I've heard a lot about trying to locate turkeys in a roosting area and try and work them the next morning.
Right. So that's kind of the classic turkey mentality is find them the day before on the roost. At right around sundown, you can start doing your owl calls, your crow calls, your coyote calls to try and get up a gobble. And then you can pinpoint that gobble and then make a plan for the next morning. That's the classic way. I have killed very few birds doing that. Because I don't know, it just seems like whenever you get your plan, make a plan, then you get punched in the face. So what I like to do, and I alluded to this earlier, I like to call it trolling for turkeys. I make a plan and then I'm up there, and this is when I will use my Yelp call. I'll walk, I don't know, for 15 minutes, or probably not 15 minutes, 5 minutes. I'll walk for 5 minutes. I'll throw out a Yelp, see if I can get a gobble. The thing about turkeys is later in the day, the hens will actually go tend to their nests, and then the gobblers get lonely. So we call it the lonely hour. And they go out there. Once the hens have left them, the gobblers are like, okay, well, where are all the hens? And if they hear a hen going off, they're like, oh, there she is. So I've killed birds at noon, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock. It's just like that middle of the day, I think, is almost a better time to do it. But when you're trolling for turkeys, instead of using your locator and using the hen call, you got to be careful, because if you get a gobble, he can hear you and he's probably coming. So you are going to want to get down and get set up real fast. So there's kind of to your point, Vince. Yes, it is the classic thing of set up on a roost site and wait for the turkeys to come back down, or come off the roost and come over to your decoys if you put them out or anything like that. But once that period is ended and they've kind of gathered up with their hens, then they're gonna you have some time. A couple years ago, I had a youth hunter out in my district, and she and we could hear the turkey, and I could get him gobbling, but he was going away from me, and he was not coming towards me. Thing is that if you can get him to gobble off the roost and he's still gobbling at you, he remembers where you are. And I mean, so that gobbler, we left him because he was traveling away. and we went on like a 3-hour trek in a UTV trying to find another gobbler. Trolling for turkeys via UTV. It's worked for me. I mean, you get out of the UTV, you call, and if you hear it, then you go after it. But it did not work that day. So I circled 3 hours later all the way back to where I was calling that morning with that gobbler. And as soon as I sat down and called, that gobbler was coming in. His hens had left him, and he was coming to the last hen he heard. So, my friend, he goes by the name of Catfish. His given name is John, but he goes by Catfish. Michael's met Catfish. He's hunted with Catfish.
He's a really cool dude.
Yeah. He is a turkey hunting fiend. He says that he will actually, if he gets a gobbler responding to him like that, he'll just sit down and take a nap and wait for the gobbler to come wake him up.
The gobbler whisperer.
He really is. And he's the one who taught me the hold on one second. He's the one that taught me if they're coming towards you and gobbling, just shut up. If you have been calling to him and he's been responding to you and then he gobbles without you calling to him, that's a very good sign. That means that he is frustrated. He is looking for you and he's going to come.
Dave, you had something to say?
Oh yeah, it was kind of off the wall. But have you ever created the wild game turducken? Like a mallard, a turkey, and a prairie chicken?
I have not.
Do you guys have prairie chickens up there?
Up here? No, we have sage grouse and sharp-tailed grouse. Sharp-tails are very similar to prairie chickens, but not quite.
Gotcha. No, that'd be cool. No, that's all I had.
Now, going back to what you were just saying, one of the things they talked about in the Onyx class is with your calls, you're not just calling out into nothing and expecting something to happen. You're creating a conversation, and you're painting a picture with your calls of what's going on where you are. You're trying to tell a Tom what's going on over here with your communication.
And I will admittedly say that I'm not good enough with my calls to figure out what I'm doing with that. Like telling them that, I'm feeding, I'm preening, I'm, about ready to breed. I don't know. I just yelp. And then once they start coming towards me, I shut up.
Well, maybe the yelp does it for you. Ready to breed.
Get ready.
So sorry, I can't answer your question. Guys know a lot more about turkey calling than I do, but I do what works, and it's been working for me.
Do you go to the same spot every year, or the same-ish spot?
Pretty much. I got a new spot last year that might actually work for me this year if I can get up there, but it's pretty close to where I usually hunt.
So, if you're looking for ponderosas on Onyx, is there a way to tell the difference between trees, just from the satellite images?
Elevation, like 7,000 to 8,000 feet, you're probably going to be in ponderosas. Any higher, you're going to be getting into the other stuff. Another tactic that guys like to do is to follow the snow line, because turkeys will go higher than ponderosas. And some places don't have ponderosas. I don't have very many ponderosas around here. The only ponderosa forest that I know is in Unit 2, and it's a limited draw unit. And I mean, there's turkeys that hang out in the pinions. They love pinion nuts, by the way. So, turkeys do hang out in pinions in that pinion complex area. But like a popular spot around here is like southwest of Meeker, down by Piance. A lot of pinions. There's some trees, a lot of sagebrush, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of turkeys down there. It's getting more and more popular, and I don't feel bad about saying it because, I mean, people know about it already.
Down, you said southwest by Meeker?
Yeah, southwest of Meeker.
So, oh yeah. There's I don't know how accurate the color coding is, but Onyx definitely shows turkeys.
It's very
Yeah,
broad.
Yeah, it is.
It is,
Like-
and that's the trouble with finding Merriams is that there's not very many of them, and you got to find where they're at.
Maybe
if you
that's
find a good
because they're
spot,
stupid.
shut your damn mouth.
Let's see. So, do you have? I've seen some turkey calls. The one that I know of, and I've seen you use it. And this was like way back in the day when you hunted stuffed animals. It had it kind of looked like a tiny snare drum, and it had a chopstick.
Yep.
Is that what you use to make all of your calls, and it's just a variation of the chopstick on the drum, or are there various other calls that you have to make various sounds?
I have probably like 10 different calls in my vest. My favorite is a box call. It's made out of wood. I would reach for it, but I don't really want to.
Right,
but
fair.
it's a friction call, like a pot call, which you're just talking about. A pot call or a slate call. They're made out of usually slate, glass, or aluminum. And you take your striker, which is the chopstick, and you make the sound that way. I like the box call. For some reason, I do, but the slate call is a lot better for when they get closer in because it's not as loud, and you can make really soft sounds. And I apologize. I would
chirps.
demonstrate. Yep, little chirps, purrs, clucks. I would demonstrate some of these sounds, but the family is still trying to get to sleep.
Yeah.
Understandable. Like, if you want to understand anybody, the listeners can go to YouTube and
Right.
So
Also, real quick, I put it in the show notes. It's a link to a database of turkey sounds that someone posted in that class. If you're looking for just turkey sounds to try and mimic your calls, so I thought that was useful.
That looks all official.
There is one sound that if you hear, and it's almost impossible to find on YouTube because of the low frequency of it. If you do find it, you have to listen to it with headphones. It's the spit drum. I imitate it all the time. It goes. That's when they're strutting. When you can hear it and you can see it when they pop up into strut, you can hear that. And the first time I heard that was on the first gobbler that I killed on our dad's property, and I had waited. I mean, I can't not tell the story, so I waited
that's
all
why you're
day.
here.
Or half a day. I got in the blind at like 5 o'clock in the morning, and I put my decoys out, and I knew there were birds over the ridge, and I was told by somebody to just wait them out. So sit in the blind, read a book, call every 15 minutes, and just wait. So I did. Well, it got to be about 11 o'clock, and I'm like, oh man, I don't know if I can do this anymore. And I'm like, I'll give it another half hour. So I gave it another half hour. So then half hour ends up. I'm like, all right, well, I'm just going to pack up my stuff. So I start packing up all my stuff in my backpack, getting ready to take down the blind. I'm still in the blind. And like, I look down at my call. I'm like, one more time. So I hit out a yelp, and immediately across the field, I heard a gobble. And I look at my window, and I just see this half circle of white across the field of his fan. I'm like, oh, he's coming in. So I sat down, and anyway, he came all the way. I was hunting right on the property line, and he came over to the property line and then skirted the property line. I'm like, where are you going? And he went up into the bushes, and I started hearing that. I'm like, what is that sound? I thought I lost him. I thought he was gone. And then, I'm like, what is that? And there's right by where I hunt, there's a little gas well, and I was wondering if that, or gas meter, and I was wondering if that gas meter was making noises. And then I'm like, no, I bet that's him. And so I just let out a little purr on my slate, and immediately he just erupted into a gobble. And I'm like, oh, that was him. And eventually he made his way right down into my decoys, and I got him. And he was great bird, great first bird. It was awesome. So speaking of turkey sounds, that's the best one. If you hear that, you know you're in shooting range.
Okay,
That's a good
so
rule of thumb.
y'all have heard me tell a Polish joke about the guy in the desert with the car door, right?
I'm not quite sure how this is
What?
connected.
Well, you said that a car door slamming brings the turkeys, right? And so my
Sure.
idea for a call is to bring a car door and slam it.
Forget everything you know about elk hunting to hunt turkeys.
Just pick it up, throw it on the ground, body slam it.
Well, I mean, sure, but I mean, look, I'm just saying. You
I
gotta
mean,
think of
that would, if I was out in the woods and I heard that, it would confuse me. I might gobble. Smack.
I have
What the fuck was that?
I have a serious question, Jeff.
Sure.
Do you have any tips about safety when you're hunting with another guy out there for turkeys? Because
Okay.
you're in full camo.
Right. And actually, we teach this in hunter safety. Turkey hunting is probably one of the riskiest hunting opportunities out there. Generally, for me, I will not use a Jake decoy on public land. People get way too antsy about it. I say never stalk a turkey. If you hear a gobble and you start trying to gobble into it, or you try to stalk into a gobble, that's not a good idea.
Yeah.
Always try to have your back against a big tree out here in the West. That's tough unless you're in a ponderosa forest. If you see somebody coming in on your setup, do not wave at him. Yell at him as loud as you can. Because if you wave, it's going to be movement.
Yeah.
You're going to have a bead on you.
Right. Avoid wearing colors such as red, white, and blue, because a gobbler's head is red, white, and blue.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't know if you believe me or not, but it does turn red, white, and blue when they are
Oh, yeah.
fired up.
Oh yeah, I've seen
Yeah.
pictures. I've seen it in
I've
real
seen
life
it.
too.
Yeah.
So don't go into the woods wearing your Texas Rangers hat and shooting at noises.
Right. I mean, it all comes down to the fundamentals. Don't shoot at a target unless you're sure of your target and what is beyond.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
Don't shoot at noises.
My one of my buddies actually got killed in the Uncompahgre forest up there by Montrose. His cousin actually shot and killed him while they were
Oh.
turkey hunting. So
yeah.
I like to preach turkey safety.
Right. Yeah. Turkey safety is paramount. If you're going to use a decoy on public land, use a hen decoy.
Yeah.
That's also a reason why I don't really like to use decoys. And it's also why
Makes
I mean, guys will tell me, oh yeah, I just like stalked up in the brush on that gobbler and I got him. I'm like, yeah, you shouldn't do that. I'm unabashedly will tell people, yeah, you shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
And I am very sorry to hear about your friend. That is terrible. And we
Yeah.
never want to hear those stories.
Yeah, it was pretty rough, but I mean, the more awareness I think is the biggest thing that we can bring from that. So
Right.
good kid.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And I don't know about, all those same things come into play when you're hunting with a partner as well.
Mhm.
Um,
Have a plan.
right. Definitely have a plan. Know where everybody is. Your zones of fire. It comes down to what we teach 8, 9, and 10-year-olds in hunter safety, and it kind of pains me to say that when you're talking to grown people, but these grown people took hunter safety a long time ago.
Oh yeah.
And have likely never taken another class related to firearms in their lives.
Right.
No. Well, that's I think one of the biggest things is don't wave, yell.
Right.
That's to me that's huge.
Some people like to use a gobble call to locate. I don't even have a gobble call because if you use a gobble call, somebody might try to come in on you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Oh, yeah.
that's solid.
It didn't mean to bring the fucking mood down, but
Well, no, that's all right. I mean, I was planning on talking about turkey hunting safety anyway. I mean, it's just those things. I mean,
I've got so many jokes, but now it feels wrong.
Hey, these, if you think about it, the shells you're using are 3.5. They're the biggest, heaviest shot and it's the most concentrated you want them out of like any sort of shotgun that you're using, any sort of shotgun round you're using to hunt, and they're lethal out to 100 yards.
Yeah,
it
you
was
don't get
quick.
the Dick Cheney experience. You get something
Yeah.
worse.
well,
Like, if
I
you
wouldn't
get
say
Dick Cheney, you
lethal
get your
out to
head taken
100
off.
yards. I mean, potentially, but I mean, what I use for
potential.
turkeys,
That's what I'm saying. Potentially lethal.
I mean, I use number 5s for turkey, so they're gonna lose their energy quick. At 100 yards, you're gonna cuss the person out and probably want to go get in a fight. But, sure, at 20 yards, it ain't gonna be a good day for you.
Yeah.
Yep.
But that's also a thing. We can bring the mood back up here, and I can talk about turkey loads. You want to get a turkey choke. Turkey choke is fuller than full because
Extra full.
Extra full. I think it's even there is an extra full, and I think it's a turkey choke is actually fuller than extra full.
Showtime.
Oh, I know you guys can't use that one.
What, extra full or the I'm ready to breed?
Fuller than extra full.
Extra full.
Oh, we can totally use that. I'm ready to breed might be a little on the edge, but we got to write it down. Not good.
But you want to use a heavier shot, but I mean, because you can use lead for turkeys, you can use smaller shot sizes, and that's good because you want to get as many pellets into that head neck area as possible.
Mhm.
So use a very full choke, we'll just say, and I like number 5s. It's always great to pattern your gun. I have never patterned my shotgun, and I've killed multiple turkeys with it. So
It must pattern
It's a
okay.
contradiction.
I'm pretty sure it patterns okay. It was like a $16 choke I bought when I was 16.
Everything was $16. You remember when 22 long rifle was $5 when you were 16?
Right,
It was like $5 for a pack of 500.
right.
I miss those
Big
days.
old block
God, you're
thousand of
old.
them. I wasted so many of those big old bricks of 1,000 rounds of 22.
Dude,
Mhm.
so did we.
Dogs.
How many tree branches did we cut down in Dad's backyard with 22 because it was so
Dude, you
damn
literally
cheap?
cut a tree down.
Yeah. Like,
Finally,
And
you
then-
admit it.
wait. What tree? I thought I was talking about that branch that we
Yeah,
cut
we
off
did. We did that, and then you cut down one of those small pine trees with ammunition.
I do not recall this.
You do not recall. I think there's Facebook photos of it.
This is entirely possible. Well,
You're not
if
supposed
there
to
are,
post
it's on my
this.
hacked account, so into the nether it is.
Bertha's got
I
it.
have a archery question, Jeff.
Sure.
Oh, me too.
Whenever we're done talking shotguns.
Yeah, go ahead.
So archery, when you're hunting turkeys, are you aiming the same spot as you are a shotgun, or are you more center mass?
It depends on what you're using. We were talking about the gobbler guillotine earlier. That's where you have a broadhead that's basically a 4-inch blade. And if you can hit a 4-inch circle at 15 yards, you can hit a turkey in the head. I don't hunt archery for turkeys because I have to work so damn hard to get a turkey. If it's going to be in range, I'm not going to shoot a stick at it. But I like the theory of those because if you miss, you miss clean. If you hit, you kill.
Yeah.
Other guys, they'll use broadheads, and there's different aiming points. I'm not going to try and explain the aiming points when you're using the broadhead. Right. I mean,
please.
Texas Heart Shot, I've heard, is a great one. But also, my experience with turkeys is that they have the highest wounding loss with archery equipment of any animal.
Can you hunt turkeys with a bow fishing rig? So you just shoot a string through them, and then you reel them into you.
Going turkey fishing, guys.
Turkey fishing is going in the.
It gets all pissed off, starts gobbling. Oh, I got a live one.
I think Jeff is over here emailing his boss.
Can we fucking do this?
No,
I was
you
just
reel-
being facetious.
You reel that flapping Tom in, and then somebody sees it, goes Tom, and shoots you too.
Oh God.
My answer is going to be I don't know.
Can you imagine the face of the guy walking up to you while you're reeling in a turkey? He's like, I don't like it, but I guess.
Look, he didn't get away.
Yeah. I don't know.
And see, what would happen is then the following year, that's when a rule gets made.
Cannot use.
Dave is finally going to have a policy named after him.
The Packard policy. May not turkey fish.
Oh yeah, Packard policy has got to be a show title.
Turkey fishing, the Packard policy.
It'll be like kokanee snagging. They'll make basically like it's a very limited like type of space and a very limited areas you can do it in.
I have some comments for after we are done. That
I love that part.
I can give you.
So yeah, that's
Oh man,
That makes me kind of rethink what I was planning because I was going to use my crossbow, which is right back there, and I was just going to use my broadheads that I use for deer hunting and aim for center of mass, but that kind of makes me rethink that idea.
Yeah, you're gonna want to look up on turkey anatomy, especially when they're in full strut. If you're gonna shoot them center of mass, you're not gonna do well shooting center of mass.
Oh yeah, because they're gonna be all
Really?
puffed up. The center of mass is gonna change where the actual body is by a lot.
And it's a teeny tiny heart. And
Yeah, well,
organs.
and I knew already that they're, much smaller than their poofed up state.
Looking at
Yeah. I'll have to look
ideal,
at it.
looking at a quick chart, yeah, center of mass, you're gonna go right over that, not over the turkey's back, but you're not gonna get anything vital there. It also puts the Texas Heart Shot as one of the good viable options.
Yeah.
Which you think
Okay.
about, if you think about the fan from the backside, it's almost like half of a bullseye.
And then also, if you think about it this way, if you have a strutting turkey in front of you, when the fan's right there, it's a great time to draw your bow. If you're bow hunting, but I mean, with a crossbow, not a big deal. But
So even from the front, if you aim for the center of the bullseye, like you can imagine where it is on the animal.
Well, at that point, you'd go for that big depression in the feathers right underneath the neck where the chest is at.
Yep.
And just go in the chest and right out the bunghole the cloaca. We official.
Yeah, we're
Love
so
vagina.
official. Cloaca.
So I got go ahead, Michael.
No, go ahead.
I like how he calls you Michael. It's very official.
Michael.
Yeah,
Michael.
I literally go by Mike by every other human in the world, but my family somehow still insists on calling me Michael.
That's me with David. It's like, don't call me by my government name.
Quiet, David.
All right, Jeffrey.
Yeah.
You want to bring middle names into this?
Quick question. That
I will
spring tag
fucking
is-
win.
My middle name's Andre.
I know.
Boom. Steer into the skid.
It says that
Mike
on our
loses.
necks.
You shouldn't have told me that. Oh boy.
Don't forget tomorrow.
The spring turkey tag is over the counter, right? At least,
For most of the units.
yeah.
Right.
I've
Yeah,
never
you gotta look in
actually
the brochure
looked at that tag before, and I just was looking at the brochure for the dates, and I went, "Oh, I could probably swing that in May."
Like,
Yeah.
it sounds fun. The looking at the map, the over-the-counter spring tags is basically this big spot. It's most of the state, with the exception of 80 and 81 at the south, which is Trinidad-ish area. I can't read it too well. It's sideways. And then there's a big spot up near the Steamboat area, so like 35, 36, 44, 45, just like a fistful of units up there. 23, 21, 2, and 201. Those are all the draw units.
Right. So 201 is not a draw unit. We just don't have turkey hunting available because there's no turkeys.
All right, fair enough.
But yeah, pretty much look
You
at
don't just
the
take
units you can go to. Okay. I would not attempt Unit 1. That's a very long drive for pretty much everybody in the state, including me. There's really no turkeys there anyway. So, but yeah, the over the counter, there's, look in the brochure, look at the units that are available, and go to the Hunt Atlas and look at where turkeys live and get out and start walking. That's what I can say about Merriam's.
Well, I'm good
That's
at walking.
That's a great idea. I might actually do that this weekend. No, I don't have time this weekend. Damn it. But there's actually several spots just west of me, Sam, like basically from Woodland Park west.
Oh, I'm thinking along that same creek where I go.
Yeah,
This
even
one
that's a
up here,
viable
That's
option.
all Ponderosa there. Now the problem is once you start going up the mountain really fast, and then you start getting near some little private property. So I'm thinking more on the other side of 67. But yeah. I mean, they don't call it turkey tracks for nothing, right? That'd be a great
Right.
idea.
They don't call. Never mind. I'm not going to go that far into doxing, Dad.
Can you real quick explain the differences between the biggest differences between spring turkey and fall turkey?
So spring is bearded turkey only. And in fall, you can shoot any turkey.
Okay.
That's the biggest difference. Spring, you are chasing after the gobblers. They're trying to go after hens. And in the fall, the gobblers are obviously not going after hens. They're just hanging out. So,
And methods of take.
yes,
Right.
you can shoot them with archery and shotgun only in the spring. And in the fall, you can use center fire and rim fire, I believe, if it is up to our standards in the brochure.
Like a spicy 22.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome.
So the is there an over-the-counter fall tag as well?
Yes, there is.
What kind of? I mean, we can talk about it more closer to that time as well. But just out of curiosity, what are the spring methods seem to focus on? It's kind of to me. I'm equating it to the rut. It's like bird rut.
Right.
So you get to hunt in bird
That's a
rut.
show title.
Yeah, we have too many show titles.
No, I'm putting it down.
I got it.
And hunting them in the fall is more like hunting the big game in the fall, where they're just being animals, and you have to happen upon them, and calling them isn't very effective because they're not real talkative.
Right.
Okay.
So I can't really talk too much about fall turkey hunting because I've never actually even had a fall turkey tag. It doesn't interest me. I like calling in gobblers. I like fooling them. I like getting them in close, hearing that spitting drum, gobbling. So
I can see you standing over this corpse of a turkey you just decapitated with turkey shot, going, "Ha, fooled you."
I could see fall
like
turkey be just kind of a pain in the ass in with big game.
More like an opportunistic, I think.
Mike's gonna turn a turkey inside out on his elk hunt.
Yeah.
With his 30
Fall turkey. I could see fall turkey being ideal for landowners that have a bunch of turkey on their land, and they just get the fall turkey tag, and oh look, there's turkey in the backyard. Bang! All right, got one.
Mm-hmm.
That.
I mean, there are guys that go out and do it. They enjoy trying to get the turkeys in the fall. I mean, there are techniques for the fall that I've heard about. Like if you find a flock, you bum rush them basically, and then you sit down and start calling because the flock is busted up. They're going to start trying to come back to each other. So you call them back to you.
Now I'm more interested because this sounds fun.
It kind of does.
Like
Running down the beach, pissing off birds.
Can you scream Leroy Jenkins?
I believe you probably could. I mean, that is your
probably
right.
Should like if the idea is to scatter them, like get them out of there.
Vince, do you have spring and fall down in your neck of the woods?
Yes, we do. We have spring and fall. Do
you have spring and fall turkey seasons?
Oh yes, that as well.
Okay. Fuck you, Mike.
Trying to head it off.
Michael.
I know that spring
here, David.
is Tom only. Let me see. Fall turkey. I'm over here. No, none's coming up. Yeah, we have both. Fall, you can use centerfire rifle. It's kind of the same. It's just during the spring, you can only use your crossbow and archery equipment or your shotguns.
Okay.
And that's comes down to the safety factor with different agencies. I think all agencies have kind of realized that spring, fall, the spring, you're trying to get gobblers in close. Guys are trying to get gobblers. And in the fall, it's kind of opportunistic. Nobody's really trying to call them. They're just going to try to get them.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Fall turkey here, it actually does. The rifle season does not run concurrent with your deer season. It runs up to it, and then deer season starts.
Oh.
That's
and
neato.
So it's a dedicated season almost.
Oh, okay. No, I was wrong. You can't use centerfire rifle for any of the fall. It is shotgun only.
Oh,
really?
Interesting.
Way to go, Oklahoma. That's better. I like it.
I mean, it's fine. The archery season runs the same as deer season, though, so it runs from October 1 to January 15th.
Flexing on your season dates again.
Yeah, but we have mountains. They can have their season dates.
Good for you.
We have public land.
So
Ooh, shots fired.
They have
I
a
do
Hulk.
have I have to say my favorite turkey story.
Yes, please do.
All right, so several years ago, probably 4 years ago, I was I'd gone up to my spot, which is a 2 mile walk in at the minimum, up a nasty hill. Anyway, getting up there, I went in and I had some birds gobbling, but they just weren't working for me. I heard some gobbler fights, and they were working all around. I just couldn't get on them. I waited out for as long as I could because I sweated getting up there, so I was cold and I couldn't sit for as long as I wanted to. So I had to start moving. So I started moving, and I looked up and I thought I saw some movement. It wasn't turkeys. I'm like, well, what the hell was that? I don't know. Anyway, it came to be about 9 o'clock, and I heard a bird up on the ridge gobbling by himself. If you hear a bird gobbling at 9 o'clock, just sounding off and sounding off and sounding off, you need to go after that bird.
He's looking for something.
Yeah. So
Anyone.
right. So I went up there and I hiked up the trail, and I get up right as I'm about to get to this bird. I come across two hunters just sitting there on a rock. I'm like, what? And then one of them looks at me and says, Jeff? I'm like, yeah. I had a face mask on, but he still recognized me. And I'm like, yeah. And it was one of our temporary guys that works for us. And he recognized me, and I'm like, oh, okay. How you guys doing? Good. Well, we just couldn't get that bird over there. Bird's still gobbling over his shoulder. I'm like, okay. You mind if I go after that bird, like trying to be nice and polite? Like, yeah, you're making small talk, but I want to kill a turkey. And he's like, oh yeah, we worked on him for like 45 minutes. He ain't coming in. I'm like,
Go to him.
okay.
Go to him, Dingleberry. Get out of the truck.
Right. Well, I mean, it's 2 miles in an area where a truck can't get to.
So he didn't say truck. He
It's-
said a rock. Get off the rock.
Get out of the truck. It's just the expression I use now to go find the animal. Get out of the truck. Because
Well,
You're gonna
it's
have
the
a new
lesson you taught me
expression next week.
elk hunting. Get out of the truck.
So I'm sitting here like, okay, all right. I'm wanting to get this bird, and this guy is just talking my ear off, and I'm like, oh my God, shut up. I'm like, all right, if you guys don't mind, if you don't mind me going after that bird, oh no, go ahead. All right, I'm going to go after the bird. We'll see you guys later.
Well, about time to get after that bird.
So I went over there, and I snuck in some brush, probably the closest quarters, Berkey. Don't even write it down.
No,
Don't
we have
forget
too
the
many.
turkey.
I don't even know how to spell it.
Closest quarters turkey I've ever shot. And I snuck in there. I heard him gobble without me enticing a gobble about 50 yards away. So I just sat down. I let out a few yelps and purrs and got him. He gobbled immediately, and I knew he was coming. So I just set up and I shut up and I waited. Sure enough, he comes like poking his head through the brush. He was probably about 10 yards away, and finally just boom, I got him. He went down, did some pictures, and started hiking down the trail. And this guy I knew, he was sitting on the trail because obviously it was like probably 15 minutes after he left to walk down the trail. And he sees me walking down the trail with this bird over my shoulder, and he just goes, "You son of a bitch."
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Another, it kind of brings me to another technique with turkeys. If you bring a turkey in, you don't get a shot, and he kind of wanders off, not spooked, you can still get him in. Like, he wanders off like something's not right, but he's not running off.
Yeah.
Reposition and use a different call. That's why I have so many different calls.
Okay.
And even one pot call, one slate with different strikers makes a different call. So you can get strikers made of different types of wood. And strikers work on all various types of calls, pot calls. So
Okay.
Yeah, just make him think you're a different bird.
Yep.
That's actually genius. Amazing.
Dope.
And here's another tip for the turkey hunter is if you have a bird that comes in and kind of stops in an area where you can't get a shot or you have to move to get a shot, and that's the thing I didn't say about turkey hunting is that you have to be still. You have to be really still. As still as you can possibly be.
Hence
But
why
if-
catfish takes naps.
Right.
I could take naps. That's a great idea. Dude, I'm going to like turkey hunting.
You're gonna
You have to
test
wake up,
every
Mike.
turkey.
Nap master, turkey master.
Like, well,
I woke up and this thing was pecking me in the eyeball, and I just grabbed it by the throat and went, "Stop it!"
I've been hunting turkey for 20 years. Never killed one, but got a lot of naps in.
Sounds just like the Yoopers.
I
So-
killed a big time.
So
why
with
people like fishing.
turkeys, guys just don't stop.
We all got to get one in.
Back to my tip. If you have a bird that comes in,
Back to my tip.
oh god. If you
Is it just the tip?
All right. You guys are being rude. We need to talk about Jeff's tip.
Oh, Jesus.
God, I gotta go to bed.
Don't we all?
Anyway, please continue.
So if you have a bird and he stopped and you have to move to get a shot, don't try to do a quick move. Like just slowly move your shotgun over to get to his head. He's probably going to see you and he's going to start walking away putting, when they putt, that means that's their alarm call. It's kind of like a cluck, but more abrupt. So he's going to start walking away from you, but you can still get a shot at him.
Yeah.
Okay. Just don't do it too rapidly, and he won't and
Right. If you
fly
just-
away or something.
Yeah, if you try to go quick, there he is, then you're not going to get a shot at him. He's going to probably fly or just start sprinting. But if you just slowly move, he's going to get alarmed, but he's going to start walking away from you. You can still get a good shot at him.
He's just going to start noping out of there, but not fast enough.
Right.
That's a solid tip. I'm really happy we finally got to your tip.
Oh boy.
Stop talking about your brother's tip.
Hey, Sam, on that note,
Making me uncomfortable. Oh, sorry. On your tip, on that note, what?
I don't know. Oh,
I'm torn between wanting to do this with shotgun and with crossbow. Probably shotgun's the safer bet.
¿Por qué no los dos?
Well, I brought both because I couldn't make up my mind.
Why
Wait,
not
I'm-
shot bow?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Shot bow. A crossbow with an undermounted shotgun.
I think I'd rather have.
I was just thinking a crossbow that shoots birdshot really, really, really fast.
So you see,
I think
loaded
you
my
have the
shotgun
exact wrong thing.
onto the string, and it didn't go
Yeah.
very far.
All right, so we need crossgun then. It's a
Okay,
crossbow
you
that it
people are
shoots, but
animals.
it's like Chewie. It's like Chewie's blaster in Star Wars. It's a crossbow, but somehow it's still a rifle.
This isn't Star Wars on ice.
Seems ineffective.
You people are
Highly.
animals.
You're an animal. We're all animals.
All right. Well, we crossed the hour and 25-minute mark. So I know, Vince, you had something maybe to go into, but do you want to pass on it till next week, or?
I'll say-
I'm okay with passing on until next week. That's fine.
I'll save everything I got for next week.
Leaving in suspense.
I'm totally happy having talked turkey all night. This was amazing.
I'm not
We
going
will,
to write down
we will
talk.
wait for Michael's 30-second segment next week.
Better than your tip.
I'm proud of my tip.
Well, Mike's gonna. I have a feeling Mike's gonna go out there. He's gonna get himself a big, gorgeous turkey with a big, long ass beard on it, and then he's gonna glue
Two
that big, long ass
long-ass
beard to a
beards.
butt plug and be a weeb with it.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
That went to a place. That went to a place I did not expect.
I've been holding on to that.
If that's how we're gonna end it, then good lord.
Mike's butt beard.
Sorry, I've been holding on to that one for an hour and 24 minutes.
I don't even know how to. You may as well just hit the button at this point.
Don't tempt me.
Well,
All right.
He can't
Oh
find the
wait,
button.
sorry. We have an email.
We
That's
oh
me.
is
we do.
is this hate mail or
No,
is it
this
good
is
mail?
not hate
Is
mail.
it the
My
squeezer?
phone died.
I want to
No.
read hate mail.
No, I'm not gonna read the hate mail because
Oh.
haters don't exist.
Haters gonna hate.
All right, so this is addressed to Dave. Hi, Dave. In the most recent episode, you talked about the delicious canned fish steaks. I have no idea what episode that is.
It was the recent
yeah.
one.
But didn't know what fish it was. My master ability to multitask, i.e., listen to the episode and search Google at the same time, led me to learn that the fish is actually herring in canned fish steaks.
Yes.
Vince, your knowledge. Oh, this is like sucking up to people. Vince, your knowledge of at least battleships during World War II is impressive. Same with guns. In my opinion, there aren't many folks who can compete when it comes to knowledge of World War II and guns. Okay.
That was an interesting compliment.
Mike, if I had to
Oh, boy.
compare myself to one of you guys, I would be the most like you on the podcast, particularly the dad jokes that everyone loves but pretends not to.
I feel sorry for everyone around you.
Not sure if I'd love hunting ducks as much as you do, though.
No one
As a
loves
general
hunting
comment
ducks
to the
as much as
podcast,
me.
my favorite parts are the hypothetical scenarios you come up with, like the ridiculous contraptions to get the ducks or whatever dinosaur to hunt, and the totally random non-hunting stuff you talk about. My least favorite parts are when you focus on guns, because I'm mostly hearing numbers and letters that don't mean anything to me. But it's a hunting podcast, so you should talk about guns.
I mean, we need guns to shoot birds, so
All
My
right.
compliment was about canned fish.
yeah.
I think the smell.
My favorite episode is
I
definitely the one
agree.
I never stay up past 10 and watched it live to the end. Also, this was for my wife, so there you go.
Hey, Sam, didn't you have another email that had a certain something about someone?
Oh, that Mike likes the taste of cock in his mouth? Yeah. And on that note,
Y'all some bitches.
Wait, hold on.
Mike.
I have questions for Jeff.
Oh, I thought you were going to ask Mike questions about
No.
cock.
Let
I
the
remember. I remembered about our questions.
Sure.
I think we've actually asked most of these questions before.
No, we didn't ask.
Did
them
we ask all of them?
We didn't ask all of them. We just asked the first one. Okay.
Why am I suddenly terrified again?
No. These are the questions. Okay. Now, Jeff. Last time we asked you about the dinosaur, right? Like what you would hunt and what
Oh.
you would hunt it with.
Yes.
Okay.
It was a guarded answer.
All right.
Well, Vince is being weird, so I don't.
I'm not being
blame
weird.
him.
We've got more.
I gave my
No,
answer
this is great.
in that
I love
episode.
this.
No. Okay. So we've got more guest questions that we have standardized. Okay.
We call them our
So-
questions.
No, we don't.
Like,
That was a quick fucking nope.
Terrible.
All
I'm
right.
gonna push the button.
So, question number 2. What is your non-Paleolithic dream hunt that you would like to go on sometime?
I would actually like
means-
to go on an elephant hunt, but I'm also slightly terrified of going on an elephant hunt.
An
Okay.
elephant hunt from 1,000 yards.
Nope, would not do it that way. Absolutely
Oh,
not.
totally. That's chicken way. You got to have
Oh.
a double rifle, and it's got to be inside 20.
Oh,
Double
absolutely.
rifle in the brush. Yeah.
Which is why I would be absolutely terrified doing it. So
Yeah, with-
Dave, what kind of tank is out front of the in the campground there?
Green one.
Okay,
I believe it's an
I-
M48.
it might be an
Previous
M60,
descriptions.
but it could be an M48, correct? And that might not be enough to hunt an elephant from 1,000 yards.
What?
I mean,
okay.
Because if you miss
It's
and piss it
1,000
off,
yards. If it's 1,000 yards, I'm inside the tent. Like, no, I want
You-
the armor.
you
for
piss it
inside
off.
20 yards.
You're in a
you
tank.
can watch it be mad at 1,000 yards.
It's
And
the
by
red
the
meat
time it
is
gets to
higher.
you in the tank, you could have turned the tank around and driven away.
Or
I mean,
reload,
or, you know-
shoot again.
tanks don't
Yeah,
turn around very
close the
fast,
hatch.
actually.
We're,
but-
we're not
I mean,
waging
faster than an
combat.
elephant can gain on you in 1,000 yards.
It was joke about angry elephant, you bitter old fucks.
What?
Make better
I
jokes.
hate you all.
All right.
Wait, how
Moving
fast
on.
can an elephant run? How fast could it?
About
jog,
13 is what I'd say.
35
15
miles an hour over short distances. Anyway,
Well, 50
What?
miles an hour sustained. So at that point, it's gonna take. Yeah, you've got a few minutes to think about your life before the elephant gets to you. So
And even if it gets to you, you're in a tank.
it'll be tired. It might just get It might just have a heart attack on the way.
All right, thanks for
And
playing.
you're
Vince,
in a
proceed.
tank.
Jeff, what would you call your biggest win so far while out hunting?
My mountain goat.
Yeah,
Your mountain goat.
Definitely. Oh
Yep.
yeah, you gotta go way. You gotta way back to hear that one.
yeah. Vince joined us after that.
That's
Right.
like
Last, so
three.
Vince, Jeff just had surgery on his other knee. Last year, he had surgery on the previous knee, and then worked his tip off to go on a mountain goat hunt in September of last year. And what was the altitude? 12,000 feet.
10 to 12, yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah.
think I heard. I think I might have listened to that. Didn't y'all skate down a mountainside and lose part of a goat?
Yeah, we did. But then we found it.
Right, right. And that was. We'll call that the biggest win. You found the part of the goat that you lost.
Yeah,
Yep.
you didn't even have to hesitate with that one, honestly. Like, that was an easy answer for
No,
you.
that's a
No.
pretty good one.
Mike, I love how you were telling Jeff's story while Jeff is here with us.
I mean, considering that story took an entire episode, probably for the best.
Yeah, that's kind of why I did it.
Yeah.
Short rehash.
So
Oh,
tell
yeah,
us about the
because
one
you
that
do
got
short
away.
rehashes.
No, I don't. I do short rehashes. I do long stories.
And to be clear, it's not the one animal that got away. We want to hear about the girl that got away.
Yeah, we have another 2 hours to talk. So
Oh, god damn.
I'm fucking out.
Ooh, getting deep, man.
Oh, we haven't. I guess we
This
didn't-
is some shit we should be drinking for, and it's Tuesday night, so hard pass.
Why, you got open tomorrow.
I was gonna go to the gym.
And do what?
Say hi.
Say hi to Jim.
I
Hi, Jim. Oh, a game.
I might reorder these questions. Anyway, moving on from that one. I'm going to end it with the question that's here to start a fight. You have to go into bear country, but you can't carry a rifle. What handgun and in which caliber are you carrying?
I'm going to go into bear country without a gun.
Without a
because-
rifle.
No, I'm going to go into bear country without a gun.
Without a
Period.
gun. Okay.
Because
then
the
what?
chances of a bear destroying you are very slim.
But
I
not
spend
zero.
enough time outside that I don't worry about bears.
okay. You're going into bear country, and you're carrying a backpack full of freshly cooked bacon, and it's during the the hyperphagia, wherever they call it. I forget
So-
the name.
Vince,
Then-
I think we asked the question wrong.
Then it is my time to go, because if I am that dumb,
So, Jeff, I think Vince asked the question wrong. What he should have asked you, because you live way up where you do, he should have asked you, when you go into human country, what handgun do you, when you go into human country and you can't carry a rifle with you, what handgun do you carry? And
No,
For
it's-
900-pound humans
okay,
with claws.
let me put it this way: if I
not
were to
legitimate
go,
human country. I'm flipping the tables.
if I were to go into grizzly country in Alaska, let's say, I mean, probably the most extreme of the extreme.
Cool,
What
yeah.
I would carry with me is a short-barreled shotgun. Ha! Loophole. I would carry a short-barreled shotgun with buckshot
Oh.
and/or slugs,
Yeah,
Good
shotgun.
loophole.
because that is a hell of a
box
lot
mag-
more powerful
You got me.
Then-
That's a
Yeah, that's solid.
than because
A box
if
med, Jesus Christ, a box mag fed. I kept saying the wrong word. Semi-auto, box mag fed, semi-auto, sawed-off shotgun at AOW would be. That's a great idea.
Why does it need to be box fed?
Let's say
So
I
you
wouldn't
can
box fed
I
because
think he came up with that on his own.
box fed on a shotgun.
Michael, I'm just going to tell you
your
something
mags
about
can-
if you're in grizzly country or bear country and you have a bear charging down on you, box fed doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't
Let's say
matter
that'd
at all,
be
because
even-
if you drop the mag, you're dead.
So that'd be even worse to deal with too, because now you've got. Have you seen most boxes? The fucking magazines are huge. Now you get this
Yeah.
big clunky magazine hanging off the bottom of your shotgun. Then
You're
when
gonna
you try
get-
to fish it around stuff. It's just gonna be a pain in the butt.
Yeah,
Give me
you're going to
some
get 1, 2, 3 shots before the bear's on you. And you want as much power downrange as possible.
That's why I say box mag. But
Jesus Christ.
Okay.
Dave's little can castle just fell over.
No, it was my new box.
Oh no!
God damn it, Dave. So all his new cold cans. Oh, that reminds me of Korea.
I am shook.
That happened to me so many times in Korea.
I don't hear any hissing though, so I think they survived.
All right,
Not Korea
Vince,
then.
we gotta end it because
Go
I have
for
a
it.
newborn crying in the background. So
Do
who's
you
doing
have any
that
more
side?
ridiculous?
That's the end of my questions.
All right, Jeff. Thanks so much for coming and joining us yet again. I can't wait for the next time. Hopefully,
No, Mike, I'm serious. We need to end it, or you need
Okay.
to talk for another 10 minutes.
push the button.
I'm doing it. Go.
Support the sport. Take a buddy hunting. Get some trauma training. Follow us on Instagram at Let's Go Hunt Podcast. Let's Go Hunt on YouTube and Reddit at r/Let's Go Hunt Podcast. If you enjoyed the show, tell your friends and family about us. Check the show notes for info on Initiative 91,